Welcome to the YEL Education screencast. To understand the reasoning behind the CMS adoption of the EL education curriculum, we need to take a look back. In January of the 2018-29 school year, as literacy leaders, we looked at the New Teacher Project report, The Opportunity Myth. TNTP found, after following nearly 4,000 students in 5 different systems, that students are unable to show mastery of grade level work that leads to college and career readiness because they are rarely given the chance to even try on grade level tasks. Most students, especially students of color, those from low income families, those with mild to moderate disabilities, and English language learners, missed out on 4 critical resources: grade level appropriate assignments, strong standards aligned instruction, deep engagement, and teachers with high expectations who believed that they could, in fact, meet end of year grade level benchmarks. In February of the 2018-2019 school year, literacy leaders looked at our local data with the CMS Breaking the Link report. This chart from the report shows the percentage of students who are college and career ready decreases from low poverty to moderate poverty to high poverty schools. At low poverty schools, students of each race have higher rates of college and career readiness than students of the same race at moderate poverty schools, and in particular, high poverty schools. On average, white students at each school poverty level perform substantially better than other racial subgroups in all subjects and grade spans. Here is a quote from the report. Over time, differences in outcomes became predictably correlated with a student's race and/or income, with students of color on average performing consistently lower than their white peers. This is the predictive link we seek to break. So, with all that information, the question became, now what? How do we embark on the hugely complex and critical task of ensuring equitable instruction for all students? To start, we needed to look at the instructional core and make meaningful change. The idea of this triangle-shaped instructional core originated with researcher Richard Elmore. Elmore argues that to improve instruction, one must focus on the instructional core. However, one cannot just focus on one element of the core. All elements must be addressed. We must simultaneously work to improve the teacher's knowledge and skills, the student's level of engagement and participation in learning, and the rigor of the content being taught that is aligned to standards. What we learned from the instructional core brings us back to the shifts that we originally learned about when the Common Core standards were adopted. These shifts outlined that to be successful, all students must engage in regular practice with complex text that is on grade level rather than leveled text, be accountable for producing work that is grounded in evidence from the text, and by building their knowledge of the world around them through content-rich nonfiction. These shifts are still applicable today to our standard course of study. But attending to the instructional core and the shifts isn't enough if we're doing it in isolation. We must recognize that the cornerstone is education equity. Equity ensures that all children, regardless of circumstances, are receiving high quality and standards aligned instruction with access to high quality materials and resources. We want to ensure that standards aligned instruction is the pathway to equitable practices needed to close the gaps caused by systemic and systematic racism, bias, and poverty. Our shared and equitable desire as educators is to hold the same high expectations for all students while they are in our care, to do the absolute best for them regardless of their plans for after they leave our care, whether that be college ready or career ready. Let's look at an example of why this is so important. Take a few minutes to read each of these excerpts and answer the question at the end. Pause the video to give yourself time to read. Now, think about where these might have come from. Jot down your ideas on your note catcher. The first example is an entry assessment that applicants to the U.S. military, any branch, have to take in order to be accepted. The second example is a response to the Google search, "How do I apply for financial aid?" The third example is the New York State driving manual. Did you have to return to the text several times to answer the question? I know I did. The skills needed to read the three example texts are the same skills that our students need to possess. The skills are listed here. This is what we are releasing them to in the world. The texts they will encounter in the world are not scaffolded for them. We have to scaffold them, our students, to readiness. This is an issue of equity, ensuring all students have the knowledge and skills to be competitive in the marketplace. Implementing a standards-aligned curriculum is our commitment to support student growth and grade level standards. The standards explain to teachers what should be learned by students in a given year. They are the staircase to ensuring readiness for the real world. Understanding the standards and the shifts and how they are equity is part of our goal. This quote from Maya Angelou is used a lot because it is that good. When you know better, you do better. So we know what national and local data is telling us about inequitable instruction and outcomes. We know what science and research is telling us on how to do better. We also know what educational equity means. So now is the time to do better. And doing better means making changes to the way we teach reading. All of these ideas led to the adoption of the EL curriculum, with the goal of providing all students in CMS with access to a reading curriculum that includes high-quality texts, rigorous tasks in speaking, listening, reading, and writing, in which students must provide text-based evidence, and aligned content with relevant, engaging topics in science and social studies. When you know better, you do better.